since everybody is here and we have one more of our artists to show, and I'd like to invite Marlayn up to her station. Oh, we're gonna come this way. This is fun.
With a magic
most of you know Marlayn, of course, but I know you through several different avenues, and the first being that I knew your pottery before I knew you. And I think that I can say definitively that you have a very unique aesthetic. It is incredibly precise, but also playful and natural at the same time. I can tell that you have experience in design because it comes through with your finished product. So my question for you is, when you encounter a design in your life, in your world, while you're traveling, what do you do to lift that inspiration and place it onto a pot?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Being a graphic artist, I tend to apply my 2D graphic design and put it on a 3D object. And so, you know, I see something like a big plate over in the marketplace. There's a neighbor of mine, I go on my walk every day, and there's a big tree there on his property, and I was watching all these, you know, pieces of big fruit burst open, and I just thought that was really neat. And just kind of, you know, my career as a commercial artist has been to, you know, design corporate logos, so it's, you know, probably explains why everything's so tight. You can see when something's like a point off. It just like drives me crazy, and I'm constantly focusing on the space between the letters, you know, is that the right kerning, which is one of the struggles I think I have with ceramics. But I think I like to take things that I see around me and then just sort of simplify them into like a more of a, almost like a pattern or a shape or a graphic. And you know, it's just a very simple version of a bird. It's not representing a specific bird, it's just a bird. Which is what you tend to do, I think, in commercial art too, because you'll be, I mean, I've been around corporate conference room tables where, you know, the CEO is talking about the company and going on and on about the brand and the feeling that the company, you know, wants to portray, and then you have to sort of smash all that into a, you know, a corporate mark,
Right.
that can reproduce, you know, at like billboard size and little teeny size. So, you know, I that's one of the things that I'm constantly, I think, you know, shows in a lot of my stuff. It's a lot about, it's very sort of more 2D and graphic in nature, you know, compared to, you know, like Mare's very fluid piece. But I'd just like to say that I feel like a real novice here compared to everybody else. I mean, I've only been doing ceramics for about less than between 10 and 15 years, maybe. I can't remember. That's, you know, I didn't study it, you know, or start in my childhood, or and Mare was my teacher. So anybody out there who's thinking of getting into it, she's an excellent teacher. Yeah, I just
Well, thank you. I find that your pieces are a marriage of form and design that is rare. And I know that you say this is a simple, we all look at that very differently than you do. And what I can say is that when you layer simplicity, you end up with something, it's like 1 + 1 is 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than the sum of its parts. So I really appreciate your work in that way.
I have a question. Of course. How long have you had your studio?
Well, I started taking classes with Mare down in Still Pond, okay. So I was just working out of the community studio down there, and then just working full time and raising my son and all that. I wanted to do more clay, and so my husband, which is the great guy that he is, built me a clay studio space. Well, actually, it was actually just a shed. We rolled it in. I would walk out there with my buckets of warm water. It was just a garden shed, and I worked there, and then we was eventually able to build a more permanent structure now on the property, which has been there, I guess, about 5-6 years, maybe.
It's beautiful. I mean, I went to
thanks.
see it.
Yeah.
During the art walk.
Yeah. So,
very nice.
yeah, it's been wonderful because it allows me to grab some time at the end of the day, or, well, my son's off at college now too. That's huge because I've got a lot more time. But so yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So your designs may be tight, but your process of getting to a studio was very fluid.
So the technique on there, that's Sgraffito, right?
Yeah.
But I'm baffled, if these are like trade secrets you don't want to give out.
No.
I know you're pretty sharing.
No.
Like I would think that that's a white body clay with a black slip.
Correct.
But then how do you plan out all that lavender? Like, do you have that design in your head ahead
Yeah.
of time?
Well,
and so you're putting in areas of color, so you
Yeah.
really know what you want ahead of time.
Yeah. So I'll draw it out. And usually, actually, I just draw it out on a piece of tissue paper because I can kind of see through it, and I just take, just in pencil, sketch it out, and then I just lay that over the form, and then I'll paint a little blob of the lavender underglaze. It's actually underglaze in these spots, and then carve it all.
Very cool.
Yeah, because I used to like just cover the whole thing with black underglaze and then carve away and then add a little bit of color, and I thought, and then I was just like, seemed like wasting a lot of product. So now I'm a little more selective about just sort of loosely painting it on there. So I'll have very loose leaves, and then so a lot of this area doesn't even get underglaze on it now. I'm a little more controlled.
And just so everyone knows, about once a year, Marlayn comes and gives her whole game away at the clay studio.
Well, that's the other thing. At this point, again, I really feel like a novice to ceramics. I've been very interested in all the different processes. Sgraffito, I actually ended up on doing it because I was getting so frustrated with glazes, which is Chris is a whiz at. Mine were crawling off the pot and all this stuff, so I was about to just like walk away. And I'm like, well, one glaze that always comes out is clear. So I started doing the Sgraffito, and Laura's really good at glazes too. But so even in frustration, you can find glimmers of hope.
Thank you very much, Marlayn. Appreciate it.